Like, we're out here chopping people's heads off, feeding people to lions, and you just like come in here. Ready? What are we doing?
The lore, it's so interesting.
Well, hello. I have returned to ramble. I was gone for a minute because I was working on some other projects. Chill. No one's not being chill. I don't know. Okay, here I am. I'm back. But if you think this man was off my mind for even a second during any of that time, you did wrong. In fact, I just blew through another Michael book that will be added to the list for sure for that video that's going to happen at some point in life in like 2 days. Ate that shit up. So here we are. Anyway, if you're new here, welcome. If you've come back because you liked my allegations video, hi again. This is going to be a lot lighter and more personal, but you can always expect a fun fact sprinkled through here and there, don't you worry. And if you've been at day one in any capacity, like for real, bless you. So I tend to spend a good amount of time thinking about pop culture moments that have shaped who I am as a person, changed my brain chemistry, burrowed into my soul, nice and cozy as a core memory that lives within me forever. You get it. Anyway, it'll probably shock no one that many of those moments for me personally involve none other than the Hee Hee King himself, Michael Joseph Jackson. Today, I want to take a little journey in reflecting on what those moments are. These can be literal moments in pop culture that involved MJ, or moments with a specific piece of media in my life that are significant. And why. We love talking about the why here. I think it's important to reflect on things that have made us who we are and have helped shape how we see the world every once in a while. That can help us better understand ourselves and maybe even others around us. Who would have thought? Empathy, especially when we're talking about this in the context of art. The art that I've consumed in my life, mainly music, film, and dance, most definitely has built so much of my foundation and understanding of the world and my place in it. I think that's why some people do feel so deeply attached to this man that we ain't even know. That can explain a lot of fandoms out there of certain artists, actors, directors, what have you. Art absolutely can, has, and will continue to change and even save lives. How could we not be obsessed with it? One of many things that sets Michael Jackson apart, in my humble opinion, from the average music artist is that his pure respect and passion for his craft came through in everything he did, down to minute interactions he had with others or the way he looked at a damn llama. He was different, y'all. You're not crazy for thinking it, feeling it. They don't make them like that no more. And arguably, they probably shouldn't, but let's not get into that right now.
Are there any questions?
I'm not ranking these, so the only order that they could end up in is like chronologically in my life, sort of. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Let's get into it. Here we gotta talk about Rockin' Robin. As I've mentioned in previous videos, I've been dancing since I was 3 years old. I started, as many of us do, with learning tap and ballet. No idea how early on it was at this point, but I know that I tapped to Michael's 1972 rendition of Rockin' Robin along the way. Something about the studio that I grew up in is they were never about to fix something that wasn't broken. For 15 years straight, I heard that song more than I would guess most people do. I even taught there for a while after I graduated college, and while I didn't use any of his songs for any of my classes, actually come to think of it, I did use a Janet song for this adorable tween girls duet class that I did. It was actually fire. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Either way, every year a class was guaranteed to be tapping to Rockin' Robin. It was almost like a rite of passage. Thing is, I now take my daughter to that studio. Full circle, super cute, love it. And I have heard it for the past 3 recitals, and I am banking on hearing it again. If you're wondering, I have absolutely zero complaints about this song's prevalence in my life, but I do wonder, dance community, was this an experience for y'all growing up? Was Rockin' Robin a major staple in all of your studios? Is it still? And if not, it might be time to bring her on back. It's a banger and it's endlessly fun to tap to, in my opinion. Guys, when I tell you that this was and still is probably one of my most prized possessions, I ain't kidding. When I see this DVD, honestly, I think about my grandma a lot. Roll with me here. My mom worked as a cosmetologist when I was growing up and also single mom in it for a lot of that time. I would have to work a lot of hours to pay them bills. I spent a lot of after school time and even some weekends with grandma, and we wore this shit out. So this was made available on DVD in 2001. So I was around 8 and we were still a ways away from being fully integrated into internet culture. At least my house was. We maybe had our computer room set up at this point, but not necessarily for internet purposes. For me, at least, it was definitely for playing The Sims for hours on end. God, I cherish those times. I just need y'all to understand the lineup though that we have here, because this is not exactly identical to the disc 1 of the History, Past, Present, and Future Book 1 album, which of course I also had and also wore it the fuck out. So on this DVD that we have, let's get into that. Let's look at this too. Look at that. Terrifying. Nightmare fuel. Now that. Look at it. Look at him. Scary. Anyway, so yeah, the lineup. We have the intro. Actually, forget it. I have to talk about the intro first. This introduction starts with a dramatic ass montage of MJ being MJ. The thing is though, it's over the song O Fortuna. Like, in hindsight, that's extra as hell. And the only person I feel like we should ever take seriously doing anything over that song is him. And like maybe a few monarchs and some action stars. For context here, I know this song is widely known and it's used a lot, but imagine being a child and having never really heard this song before, and the first time you do is watching a bunch of grown-ass people pass out in succession at the mere sight of your favorite music artist. It lets that developing brain know pretty quick that you're a fan of something / someone pretty damn important and kind of scary powerful. I felt like I was truly onto something, y'all, and honestly, turns out I absolutely was. Okay, so then yeah, next we have Billie Jean. I had seen it plenty and would never skip regardless. It's iconic for a reason. The song's iconic for a reason. I kind of think of the video in the same way that I think of the song itself. Would never live without it, but also can kind of get a little oversaturated by it, so has to be there. Ah yes, The Way You Make Me Feel. This video had me realizing that I was just a girl and he was just a man, because when he then he
You knock me off of my feet, my baby.
and then he had the nerve yeah, if we want to call it a sexual awakening moment, like, I won't deny it. And am I even just talking about him? Because whew. All right, let's move on. Okay, next up, yes, we have, of course, Black or White, or as my mans would call it,
Black or white?
Black or White. It's very, very stewy of him. Anyway, with my blind and deaf dog, I think just fell down the stairs, so. She's fine. Anyway, Black or White. And this one was version with the wild ass anti-racist dance rant that was also sexual.
You know, I don't do dirty. You know what I mean? You mean
Yeah, I don't know how this one was rationalized to me by the adults in my life, but I do feel like my mom remembered how they sanitized it and took the real version off of the air and said it was because of the sexual nature of the dance moves, but she knew at that time too that it was definitely because of racism, which is ironic as this is arguably the anti-racist anthem for people in the early 90s while simultaneously revealing the very thing he was singing out about and grinding out his anger about on that car. He turned into a damn panther, literally, twice. Thanks, Mike. America, everyone. And have we learned and gotten any better? Absolutely the fuck not. Michael's probably doing perfectly timed spins in his grave, y'all. Up next then, yes, we've got Rock With You. Full credit to this DVD for giving me an appreciation for this simplistic video and the song itself. It's one of the most simple videos that I've ever seen, but also one of my absolute favorites. Just look at those rhinestones. Who did this man think he was, just standing there like with this little laser and those little boots? An icon. Okay, next we've got Bad. This also was the full Scorsese directed version. I don't think I had even seen The Wiz yet at this point in my life, and so with the exception of Thriller, I really had not seen Mike do all his little acting thing yet, and what a debut in my mind. I have a lot to say about this video as a whole, but as you can probably guess, per no one's request as usual, I do plan to do a video ranking at some point, a short film ranking, because who would I be if I didn't? So I'm not gonna get tied up in talking too much about these, but just more of the significance of this DVD. So up next, we have Thriller. Again, I had already been effed up by this one at this point, and I honestly don't remember exactly when it became fun for me to watch the whole thing, because it definitely happened within my younger years, but I wasn't far off at 8 years old from getting into full-blown horror movies at this point. So if this was ever a skip on the DVD experience for me, it wasn't for long. But again, I also do remember doing that thing, you know, that kids do where it's like you're scared, but then you can't look away, and then you also are like curious, but then you F yourself up because you're so scared. It's the whole thing. I just kept looking at this guy. Somebody Anyway, next we have Beat It. Similar to Billie Jean, had already known it and loved it, never a skip, but yeah, not much to say about it, just glad to have it. I guess then we had Remember the Time, another piece of media I return to when I want to ponder my sexual orientation, and also some of the most iconic choreography of all time. And I also have trouble not thinking about that one stand-up bit whenever I watch it now. I don't remember who it is. I'm gonna find it, hold up.
You know who the most toxic nigga ever was? Michael Jackson. Michael Joseph Jackson. Michael had got some coochie from a lady one night, one evening. They had a beautiful time together. And then that lady moved on with her life. Married a rich nigga from Africa. She's sitting over there bored. He say, what must I do? So he started throwing little talent shows at the house. 9 different niggas performed. And then the 10th nigga showed up. He wasn't even on the list. Magic Johnson didn't even know what to call him. He was like, and now, this nigga walked out in front of this lady and her brand new husband, all on these people, brand new flow, opened up a bag of dirt and poured it all on these people, brand new palace flow. Like, hey, what you gonna do about this dirt? And Michael spun his toxic ass out the dirt. Boom, 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 do you remember? And she immediately recognized Michael. That's why she looked the fuck off. Like, I know Michael ass. Ain't in here talking about that one time we fucked, that one time at my brand new house in front of my husband. Who jumped out the dirt with him? All the background dancers. Mike had receipts. Mike started naming places. Do you remember on the phone after dark in the park 2 or 3? What about? What about? That's when he ate the pussy.
I can't unhear it when I hear the song, and I always think of the video when he's just like standing there proclaiming his love for this woman, and Eddie Murphy's just like there, like he's just like, dude, get out of my house. Like, I'm just like, we're out here chopping people's heads off, feeding people to lions.
That's cool.
And you just like come in here. Reddit. Anyway, it makes me giggle. Okay. And we have Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. This one played a lot on VH1, I feel like, at this time in my life. But again, with the simplicity of it all, why was this so captivating? It shouldn't have been. It's a man in a tux, green screen, and a big ass bubble flying around for like 5 minutes, like only the king, I'm telling you. And then finally, yeah, we got Heal the World. I've said it before, and I will say it again. First time I really understood MJ's philanthropic nature and fell in love with his sweet little heart right then and there. He wasn't even in this one. Just a bunch of jump cuts to a bunch of sad little children. But did I leave that video wanting to make the world a better place every single time? Yes, I did, and still do. Also, another generational parallel with my daughter. She loves this one and requests it a lot, and that almost could seem like morbid at times. Then I'm like, no, let's unpack why I feel that way. Of course, a child would be captivated by seeing other children as a backdrop for a message of hope and love and making the world a better place. We're just conditioned to be uncomfortable with it. Wonder why that is. This is why his intentionality and his genius with this kind of stuff should never be slept on. This wasn't just a way to save time and money for the video by cutting a bunch of stuff together and not having any choreo, any on-screen Michael. No. It was to make people give their time and money to a cause that he felt was more important than the music itself in some ways. I'll keep saying it. We did not deserve this man. Okay, so I guess looking at this list, yeah, the only video that exists that we're missing as far as the continuity with disc 1 of the album is She's Out of My Life, which, whatever, I guess. But don't you think I don't still revisit Mike sitting there on his little stool like he's getting photographed at Sears in my spare time every once in a while, okay? Now, MTV and VH1, as I've mentioned, existed at this point for me, and trust, I had seen the classic MJ short films. This was my starter pack, though, on educating myself through repetition. I didn't have to wait. I didn't have to tape these onto a blank VHS when they came on TV. They were mine. They still is. I think I'm getting pulled into this whole resurgence of physical media thing, and I'm ready. I'm not mad about it in the slightest. All I'm trying to hammer home here is that this was one of those very important prized possessions that I had. Any friend who came over and hadn't seen every video that this lovely DVD had to offer needed to get ready to strap in because we were about to go on a journey. And I'll say this, until this point, I have never gotten any complaints to my face. Y'all, I've toyed with the idea I've toyed with the idea and still am honestly of doing an entire video just around this. This anniversary special is filled with lore, tea, historical impact on multiple levels. The list just goes on. I guess I need to just start from the beginning about the special in general. So the Michael Jackson 30th anniversary celebration was a televised concert special extravaganza in 2001. They just don't do it like this anymore, y'all. It was shot over 2 separate days, which is something that I learned recently at Madison Square Garden. You know, in case y'all forgot for a second what kinds of events that venue was actually made for. They filmed on September 7th and 10th of, again, 2001, and it was broadcasted as a 2-hour special to honor Michael's 30th year of being a solo artist, counting from his 1971 single Got to Be There on November 13th. It is considered still one of the highest rated musical specials in TV history. It even got aired later the same year on CBS and was watched by 30 million viewers at that time. As far as the live audience goes, the tickets sold out in 2 hours. Tickets were on another level of expensive, and when you understand the lineup of these nights, it makes a lot of sense why. So I'm just gonna run through some moments to highlight here. And again, if you want to hear something more in depth about it, let me know in the comments, because I could yap about this special specifically for quite a bit. Anyway, one of the biggest highlights for me is how we open with none other than Samuel L. Jackson. Now, this got me thinking about Samuel L.'s pattern of being an opening MC of sorts for many iconic moments over time outside of his movies. Think about it. We've got the Kendrick Super Bowl halftime show as far as recent times. He also opened for the American Music Awards 50th anniversary special. That's a big deal. He ain't even a musician, y'all, but he keeps showing up for these things. He also opened for the 2026 NAACP Image Awards. There's something to this pattern that I want to know more about, but I digress. The next moment I want to highlight here is the actual opening number of the show, which featured Usher, Maya, and Whitney fucking Houston. Like, what are we doing? This was absolutely on brand with my shocking positive critique of Michael's legacy of knowing how to begin, how to set the stage. Not only did they choose to sing what is the opening track of Thriller, and my personal favorite MJ song of all time, you know, if you watch my ranking video where I ranked all of his songs ever, from Off the Wall to Escape. Yeah, I counted Escape. Anyway, go watch that, even though I just spoiled what my number one is, but it's my number one for a reason. I think it's a lot of people's number one if they really think about it in their hearts and in their souls. And I think there's a reason that it was chosen to be the opening number. So yeah, not only did they choose this song in particular, but they did it with explosive pizzazz. And you can quote me on that. Explosive pizzazz. I'm sticking with it. And now, looking back as an adult who's educated herself on her own ancestry through dance and otherwise, for 2001, this shit was black as fuck. It really did do a whole number exemplifying through dance what this song is all about. Then they start literally flying, and then, oh yeah, no big deal, here comes Miss Houston, her damn self. Like, what is happening? So also, side note, during this special, you become aware of where Michael is sitting with his besties, Liz Taylor and Macaulay Culkin, no less, during the performances, because you'll often see the artist turn to stage left to sing at that area, and then the camera will cut to Michael for a reaction shot. During this, Whitney starts singing the Keep Your Head Up High and Sing Out to the World, la la la, like the affirmation set of the song directly to Michael.
Hold your head high and speak out to the world. I know I am the one, and let the truth unfold. No one can hold me now, because you know it's true. See, I believe in me, so you believe in you. Help me sing it.
Knowing what we know now about what was going on around this time in his life, and hell, even her life, as well as Whitney's history of friendship with him, really just makes me feel something very deep in my soul. Another quick highlight here is Billy Gilman killing Ben for a new generation. That was a weird sentence. He didn't kill Ben. He sang the song. He's a little boy. He sang the song and he killed it. He did a really good job. He crushed it. He sang good. And I can't lie. This was my first understanding of how hard this original song goes.
I don't listen to a word they say.
So thank you, Billy. Hope you're well. No idea what that boy is doing. Man, he's a full-grown man now. Another standout moment for me was Shaggy, Rayvon, and Rick Rock and us all learning that It Wasn't Me was one of Michael's favorite songs at the time. It is one of my favorite moments of the entire performance, and that is a fun fact that I will never let go of. Like what? The next point I want to talk about is Mark Anthony. I fell in love with this man in college, and in revisiting this special, I realized it was he who had this little spot. And respect to my man MJ for always knowing stuff that's going to be important to me, even if I don't realize it in real time. He'd just be setting up prophecies for my life, like little breadcrumbs to find, and like, thank you to the king. Now this one is very important. Destiny's Child's little slot here. I feel that the children cemented their destiny with this performance. That was rough. I heard it. It's not good, but I'm just gonna move on. The fact that Beyonce Knowles stays forever geeked about this man has always been such a factor for me in my respect and love for her as an artist and as a fellow fangirly.
Don't get me started on Michael. it was time for me to sing my part. But I looked to the right, and he was right there. I couldn't sing. I had to start screaming. And I did, right on the stage. And I know the fans, because they couldn't see him. They thought I was crazy, because I was like walking up to do my part, and then I was like, ah! Just right on the stage. And I couldn't hold it. Like, I couldn't take it.
I just remember that this was at a very formative time in my life, that I was so deep into Destiny's Child, and then to see them utilize their spot on this special to truly make it about their reverence for him. Because, hello, they're singing Bootylicious. They absolutely could have just been up there shaking ass for 2 minutes, and everyone, including MJ, would have been just fine with it. But no, they turned the honor up to 11. And I've also always wondered if the moment where Kelly and Michelle ditched the hats, but B doesn't, was planned or not. But I think we all knew that that was the correct choice. Next, we got Luther Vandross singing Man in the Mirror, accompanied by 98 Degrees. It's not important. This hits even bigger now for me as an adult than it did then. However, in listening back to their performance, I definitely have their rendition like burned into my brain, or at least Luther's part. Next, we have, for me, seeing at the end of the special, Usher's Dreams Come True and Chris Tucker being Chris Tucker. Now, this was a moment for a lot of us that had already heard the new You Rock My World single with the skit at the beginning. It solidified that these two jokers were legitimately friends. The way we now know that Mike was struggling through these shows, long story for another day, also makes me look at Chris coming out on stage to surprise him and make him laugh seem like it wasn't just for entertainment of the masses, perhaps. There's a chance it was an act of true support and friendship, and that just warms my heart. And Usher is just out there like, yeah, I can't believe this is happening. Let me glide around some more before I wake up. The last highlight that I want to talk about from this special was the Jacksons reuniting for the first and last time. Now this was a moment, if I ever did see one. I just remember as a kid being excited and drawn in by the music, knowing the importance of the moment, but also seeing my mom and grandma's reactions. They were gushing about how good everyone still looked and just how important this was and how cool it was that they were back together again. Of course, my grandma had to talk about how concerned she was for Michael, but would say things like, boy, can he still dance? We also got to talk about NSYNC. I mean, come on, if you know, you know. Say what you will about Justin Timberlake at this point, but in 2001, this was a culmination of generational interconnectedness that could have sent both little millennials and their parents to the grave at the same damn time, and I think it might have. I don't know. I always felt emotional watching that part, but since Michael's passing, followed by Tito, it struck a different chord. We now know this was their final performance together. It was also the first time Jafar Jackson got to see his dad and uncles perform.
Around 5 or 6 in New York for the 30th anniversary, Madison Square Garden. I just remember it being incredibly loud, hearing all the fans screaming, and I was covering my ears, and seeing my father and uncles on stage. That was my very first time seeing the performers. I feel like that's when I first realized that they're incredibly important and their music means a lot.
Like, can you imagine? Alright, so if you watch any of my other videos, you may have picked up on that I am a blood on the dance floor stan, and I will not be taking questions. Just kidding, I actually love talking about it though, fire away, but I will not accept slander. As I have discussed ad nauseum, this album's few new tracks were and are golden and woefully slept on by the general public and even some fans. Like, come on y'all, what are we doing? Ghosts in particular was one of my instant favorites. This is before the MJ Experience video game, friends. All we had back then was this sick-ass beat, dramatic storytelling, and vocal theatrics from our man. Then there was the video. Now, Thriller is an obvious choice for me to connect to my eventual love for the horror genre, but when I really think about it, that shit, again, had scared and traumatized me way too much for it to be fully fun and to fully enjoy it, even into later elementary school years. But this one, I was ready for. The direction of this video went in a very Steven Spielberg-esque kind of direction, from the score to the kids being involved to the random lighthearted humor. However, that's not actually how it was supposed to go originally. and I don't feel like reinventing the wheel, so go ahead and check out this creator's video on it because it's quite fascinating. For me, the video that we ended up getting, and the dance break in particular, burrowed its way into my consciousness forever. I really think it always plays a role in my subconscious when I'm choreographing something. I look back at old videos of my choreography sometimes and I see parallels. I'm pretty sure it was VH1 that aired the behind the scenes program on this video, and it was very pivotal for me. I tape recorded it as well and watched it constantly. To this day, I still love a behind the scenes. DVD's special features sections hated to see me coming. And now with the power of YouTube and all things internet, I'm a very happy girl. So, the Bad album as a whole is my favorite MJ album, as y'all know if you've checked out my Ring video. But it's also just my favorite album of all time if I'm ever forced to say what that is, which I feel like happens a lot. You talk about being a huge music head, and the first thing people want to know is what's your favorite song, album, music artist, as if that's an easy thing to answer. At this point though, I'm very content with it being my go-to. As I've been reflecting for this video, I honestly couldn't tell you any firsts or anything related to this one for me. I don't know the first time I heard it. The first time I saw the Smooth Criminal video in full. The first time I dramatically played out my choreography to Dirty Diana for my grandma in the living room. Yep. And she didn't laugh once. That woman was a saint. A saint. But seriously, it's gonna sound cheesy, but it just feels like it has always existed for me. There is no before bad. Bad just always was for me. And it always will be. That being said, I have an entire PowerPoint that I sat my friends down and talked at them about, with the topic being bad is better than Thriller. Oh, I know. Hot ass take, but also for real, hear me out. Everything that we love and hold dear about this man was arguably at its absolute peak with this album. He also had the most creative control he had had up until that point, despite Mr. Q, God rest his soul, I do love that man, making it real challenging for him at times during the process of making this album, which took years, by the way. The lore, it's so interesting. To me, this is where we get to hear Michael fly as an artist and as a songwriter. We get to hear him experiment more than we had ever at that point. We get to hear him express himself more daringly and push himself in various new ways to new limits. The bad era is now being talked about lately on social media by the youths as one to behold. And why is that? 30 some years later? Because it was and is something to behold, and it permeates space and time. The look, the mysterious aura, the songs, the video, the who-were, everything about this album brought a new Michael to the public that I don't think anyone was really ready for. And I do feel like, as jumpy and weird as the biopic was, and that it jumped to 1988 at Wembley, at the end, it really got people way hyped up. It was sort of like a cliffhanger of sorts. I mean, yes, he does sing the entire song at the end, but I do feel like it kind of left the public wanting more. And from what I'm hearing, it sounds like part 2 is going to give us a little backtracking action. So we are not going to hopefully skip over the entire era that led to the tour, because for us, there is a lot to be said. And I think the people want it. They want to know more about this era, and it is well warranted. I think the movie, I think they knew what they were doing in hindsight and how it all turned out. I have a lot of thoughts on that too. Stay tuned if I ever have time to do that video. Anyway, this was when, in my opinion, he went from pop R&B superstar that had just broken out from being a child star, who trailblazed his ass off for Black artists in America, to the king of pop as we know and love him today. It's just important, okay? So I'm counting it as a moment for me in this collection of moments. Okay, my final highlight of moments for today is the This Is It film. Yeah, so I'm struggling to even want to talk about this one because I'm trekking through Anna Savage's insanely long series here on YouTube on the dark side of the This Is It tour, which most definitely includes this film. And trust me when I say I already had my tinfoil hat made and fitted prior to diving even deeper into the tea behind all of this, but her videos so far have me placing it right on top of my head. You feel me? Anyway, I talked a bit about this moment earlier in my very first video, actually, from knowing exactly where I was when CNN broke the news of his vague cardiac arrest to the official announcement of his untimely, or specifically timed, depending on how you look at it, death. And within that, how cathartic and important this film being released in theaters was for me as a fan. I saw it 1 billion times. I am part of the statistics, making it a box office smash. I've revisited the film plenty since I started to become aware of all the darkness that was behind it, and I'm not sure how, but I'm still able to separate the painful sad shit from the gift that it still inevitably is for us here on Earth. Because here's the thing, we may not have deserved this goodbye. We can talk about how the estate / anyone profiting off of this sure as hell didn't deserve it, but I'm thankful for it nonetheless. That's my take on it. Anything this man did artistically was a gift, was beautiful, and was worth being seen, in my opinion. I think his efforts, no matter how dark in nature, deserve to be appreciated and seen. And maybe that's my way of making myself feel better about something that's been soured a bit, if not a lot, over time. Regardless, thank you, Michael, for being the artist that you were up until literally the very end. We love you. All right, well, that about wraps up what I've got for today. I did sort of consider consider talking about the biopic as a moment for me, because this year, and honestly, seeing MJ the musical at the beginning of this year as well, this has been a whole moment for me this entire year, starting this channel, the whole thing. Just know that right now we're in a moment. We are in a moment, and maybe my whole life is a moment. I don't know. We're getting weird, but MJ is the moment, is he not? All roads lead to MJ. Of course, there are countless moments that I could have included here, but these were truly what came to mind immediately when I got the idea for this video in the first place, and I feel like I should just leave it at that, what was organic and what naturally came. Please let me know in the comments what your biggest MJ moments are and have been for you. We gotta compare and contrast, y'all. Let's have some community around this. Awaken some deep-seated memories, you know? So I'll hopefully see you there. But until then, and until next time, bye.